So there's a Chicago Bears starter that very well just got placed on the chopping block. I think he's a candidate to be outright released. And we're looking at our head coach now, Ben Johnson. He is after every single detail of finding an advantage when constructing this roster, and it's a really good thing. But sometimes potential strengths of a team may fall victim to this relentless mentality as well. So the player I want to talk about in today's video is Cairo Santos. He's now 33, and you might be thinking, why Santos? I mean, he's the holder of the franchise record of a 93.8 success rate. That's really good. Back in 2020, but this last year, he hit kicks at the lowest percentage since he's rejoined the team at 84%. And even more telling, he hit kicks of 50-yard plus, 21 for 25 from that distance. So we're looking at the veteran player. He's been a steady presence in a pretty turbulent locker room. I got to give him that. But he's also in the category of being a player that has a solid spot on this team. The coaching staff is going to have to be absolutely blown away during camp for him to lose his job. And also it's a matter of the contract. And I just want to go back to when he was signed. The Bears currently have Santos under contract through 2027, and it's not a small contract as you see, but they also did something here. They signed Jonathan Kim. A lot of you might not know who he is. It was kind of a sneaky signing. He's an undrafted rookie free agent to potentially compete with Santos. Now, you're looking at Kim. He's a player that holds the Michigan State career record for field goal percentage. It's a really intriguing player here. But let's keep in mind, too, finding a reliable kicker in the NFL who also can make from a distance. That's not an easy task, and I think the Bears might have landed a hidden gem in Jonathan Kim. So let's talk about him. He's an intriguing guy in a possible camp battle. A little about Jonathan Kim. He holds the Michigan State Spartans' career field goal record, and this is just a really good player to kind of highlight here as we're looking for a replacement for Cairo Santos. So typically, when NFL teams sign rookie kickers to the roster as the number 2 option, right? They're looking for someone who can handle some reps in training camp, maybe earn a spot on the practice squad, maybe push the incumbent starter a little bit. But in Kim's case, I think he's had enough success in college that he could legit make a case for the number 1 job if Santos doesn't get better from long distance. And I don't think he's going to be. If he's not on his A game during camp, this could definitely happen. And you're looking at, too, he has a friend on the team. He's going to be reuniting with his college teammate. And that 6th-round pick, Luke Newman, another really intriguing player that I'm glad that the Bears were able to grab. And his college journey began a little unconventionally. Kim's journey started with the University of North Carolina, and he served primarily as a kickoff specialist. He had only 1 field goal attempt, but then he was in a place that he's like, I think I can earn a bigger role on a college team. He ended up hitting the portal, and he ended up at Michigan State, and there he absolutely thrived. And also, if you're looking at a kickoff specialist, that's almost a guarantee that they have a really strong leg. And he really balled out with the Spartans. We're looking at him leading Michigan State in scoring in each of his 2 seasons with the team. And then he declared for the NFL as the program's all-time leader in field goal percentage, 82.1. And he hit 32 of 39 field goal attempts. And then in 2024, the second most accurate kicker in the Big Ten. That's no small feat. The Big Ten is a tough conference. His accuracy bumped way up to 90.5, had the 5th most field goal makes at 19, and he earned second-team conference honors. He finished as a semifinalist for the Lou Graza Award. That's for the best kicker in college football. Let's talk about leg strength as well. He went a perfect 8 for 8 on kicks from 40 to 49 yards. He nailed a 58-yard field goal. That's something that Santos isn't going to do. That's the 4th longest in Michigan State history. And even more impressive, he connected on 3 of 4 attempts from beyond 50 just this last season. Now, we're looking at a player who's steadily improving over his 2 seasons. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's ready to jump in as the number 1 NFL starter, but I want to see this camp battle play out. And it's hard enough to transition from college to the pros as a place kicker, but he'd also have to acclimate himself to some pretty nasty weather, right? That's from kicking in Chicago. That can be daunting for a lot of kickers, but you're also looking for a player that played in the Big Ten. So he can't be a complete stranger to some inclement weather, and especially some cold days playing football. So kind of looking at Santos' starting job, I think it'd be more in jeopardy if the Bears had a new special teams coordinator, but Hightower is coming back his 4th season. The guy he survives every coaching regime that comes in and out of Chicago, and that's because he's just a heck of a coach. So it's possible that Hightower, he might be looking for as much continuity as possible on special teams. It's a really tough call. You got a key contributor, a guy who's been absolute money in a ton of situations, but what have you done for me lately? That's a big theme in this league, and he's coming off a pretty off year. And as far as comparisons, why should we replace Santos? Let's look at some of the top kickers in the league, guys, how they kicked in their prime. You're looking at Justin Tucker. He's got a 66 career long. And then you look for a guy like Matt Prater. He's got 64 yarders. He's the NFL record holder for 50-plus yard makes. And then he's just a guy who's regularly converted from 60-plus yards. We've got a guy in Kim that can straight up boot it from at least 58 during his time at Michigan State. A lot of college teams don't try to hit field goals from that long of a distance. It's just not as routine. But in the NFL game, if you can hit a 58-yarder, you're in business. You can get a job here. So we're kind of looking at Santos too. Let's be honest how good he's been. He's been absolute money within 50 yards. Absolutely clutch under pressure, but this range ceiling, the way the NFL is moving forward, you're seeing a lot of kickers just routinely hit kicks from 50 yards plus, and that's such a strategic advantage when you're in a game, especially tight games within this super competitive division. And I want to go through what Windy City Gridiron's Aaron Lemming had to say. He had a few things to say about his contract, coupled with this range deficiency. I'm going to call it a deficiency because it is. And anytime someone like Lemming talks from Windy City Gridiron, we should listen because Windy City Gridiron, give them your time. They are just the gold standard in Chicago Bears coverage. So this is straight from Lemming. Distance has been an issue since his return from injury that ultimately led to his ouster in Kansas City in favor of Harrison Butker. And then he's going to add a little more. This was just yesterday. Although Santos has a career-long streak of 55 yards, he struggles from beyond 50 yards, especially when the weather starts to cool down. His accuracy actually gets worse. That could be an issue for an aspiring playoff team that plays primarily outdoors, right? That's not to diminish how good he's been from within 40 yards, and I don't want to do that. But distance plays a big part in today's kicking game. With 2 years remaining on his contract, the quest to prove he can still perform at a high level begins this year in 2025. He's saying it's a clean slate. Expect a kicker competition in training camp. Santos is not going to be handed this starting job. He's entering year 12 in the NFL. We kind of know who he has been in a player, but he ended up rejoining the Bears in 2020 after a previous stint, I believe in 2017. You can check me on that. He's been so accurate. But there's a significant contract concern as well. What would a cut look financially for the Bears? Now, if it would have been pre-June 1st, kind of an untenable thing, it would have been $2.64 million in savings, but a $1.12 million dead cap hit. And Chicago Bears hate dead cap hits. Ryan Poles hates those hits, and I agree with him. But let's say that he is released, post June 1st, which it is. You're looking at a bigger cap savings. You're looking at a $3.2 million cap savings, $560,000 in dead cap. That's way more palatable. And if we're kind of looking at this kind of to finish out, and this is a little more from Lemming, lack of range and age plus contract, all significant factors that'll impact Santos moving forward. And we've seen a variance in kickers each year. I mean, this is happening across the league. He's going to be 34 halfway through the season. There are plenty of reasons to wonder as well how effective he's going to continue to be as he ages in longer kicking situations, because the guy's signed until 2027. You don't have to do the math. That's going to be a 36-year-old kicker. And if the Bears are looking to secure a playoff spot, range is going to be a huge factor, especially in January. So colder than it would be in September or October. We're going to see how long of a leash that head coach Ben Johnson and his staff give the veteran. I think this is just food for thought. I think this is definitely something that we should keep our eye on as training camp approaches. And we very well might have a new kicker on this team that when he's past 50 yards, we're not going to have this big debate like Coach Eberflus had. Hey, I didn't trust him to hit it past 50 yards, so I made a poor decision and we lost the game. Like, we need a kicker that can hit from distance. And Jonathan Kim absolutely might be that guy. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe. It's a huge blessing here at Sports Talk Bears. I'm Sean, and I will continue to be here with Chicago Bears news on the daily. See you guys later. Bear down.